This is going to be more of a serious video. This week is election week, and tensions are very high, and I wanted to make a video about mental health and my own personal journey with that. Most of you know I've been depressed for most of my life, and I have made several suicide attempts, more than I've admitted to my parents and my friends. In fact, I actually got this tattoo on my arm because I used to cut myself there, and it serves as a reminder that mental health is a cycle, and even if I'm feeling hopeless and horrible right now, I may feel better again in the future. My most recent suicide attempt was a few years ago, and I was hospitalized for a few days, and let me tell you, psychiatric hospitals are not a place for rest and recuperation. They are quite the opposite, in fact. However, when I returned home, there was a package waiting for me. It's a box of yarn, and I bought this yarn on a day that I was feeling normal and hopeful, and some time passed before I ended up in the hospital, but I came home to this, and it may have saved me. The crafting and creating are things that do help with mental health, not just for me, but for most people, and that is the project that I'd like to share with you today. I never finished it, but I did most of it during that time, and it really helped me. When I got back from the hospital, I spent a lot of time alone. It felt like my friends were unaware or did not care about my situation. So I sequestered myself in my room, and I crocheted and I sewed, and I didn't have Netflix at the time, so I watched a lot of free TV episodes on CBS. There were so many commercial breaks. But that's what I did. It was just part of the healing process and recovery. And I'd like to share that with you today. I got so far as to finish all of the crochet and the embroidery, but all I have left now is the lining, and honestly that's the part that would have held me up anyway, whether I was mentally ill or not. As I film this now, it's election week, and in fact, I am right now waiting for the last results to roll in. It seems like the whole world is holding its breath and watching this election. And on top of all the election anxiety, there's all the stress and depression and other mental illness that came from the coronavirus and the pandemic and the quarantine. Mental illness is at an all-time high right now. So I think it's the perfect time to finish this project that I started 3 years ago. So first, I'd like to start with a little introduction to what the project is and how far I've come, and I hope you enjoy it. So this pattern is free. It was designed by Kirsten Bollering for a crochet along that was hosted by Sheepias, a Dutch yarn company. The pattern centers around the idea of Hygge, which does not have a literal English translation, but it boils down to this. It is a feeling of immense coziness. Whether you're sitting by a fire, or snuggling up in a fuzzy blanket, or sipping your favorite tea, or watching snow fall through the window, you are experiencing Hygge. It is a moment of slowness in this crazy, bustling world. The original pattern came with 3 different colorways in kits, and at the time, I coveted these, particularly the Danish mermaid colorway, but it was a little bit out of my price range, so I ended up buying yarn that I picked out from a company called nitpicks.com. In the end, it ended up being an excellent decision because everybody who purchased the kit all made these shawls that all looked the same, but mine stood out because it was very colorful and it was very Colleen colors. So I haven't opened this box in a really long time, but I'm pretty sure I put all the stuff in here. So here's the first piece. This is the part that I crocheted. So each section has a different pattern. This is the original design. This is mostly the, wait, never mind, this is not the original design. The original design had the hearts on the end in half, and I didn't like that, so I made these two hearts smaller so I could have 5 whole hearts on here. And this one, it's actually upside down. This one's a butterfly. They used to just all be flowers. And then I miscounted, so I had to design a little extra strip to go here, and I think it's nice because it used all the colors. And then this is the center panel, very floral, has some vines. I think that originally these vines were supposed to be cross-stitched, but I used, I forget what it's called, but it's like a top stitching, or like a crocheted top stitch, and I think it made the vines look a lot smoother and more vine-like. And there's that again. This is the original design, and then, oh, this is actually not finished. This is based on a design that I found in a book based on an actual Norwegian folk design that they had put on their clothes. So, rather proud of that. And then these little, like, awkward butterflies. So, what I need to do is finish these 2 sections, weave in all these ends, the worst part, and then I have to sew on the lining to hide up all this ugliness in the back with these pineapples. So while I was doing this, I was in a Facebook group for other people who were also making the same project, and I posted a picture of the lining I chose next to my crocheted project, and this boomer lady commented on it and said, "Oh, I wouldn't use that for a lining." Well, guess what, Linda, or Deborah, or Barbara, or whatever your name is? Nobody asked you. So I actually found the original post, and her name was Nora, so I was not that far off. And besides, the actual designer of the whole project commented on my picture and said she really liked it, so if I like it, and if Kirsten likes it, that's all that matters. In addition to this section,
realized there's an empty spot here on the center panel. There should be a butterfly, like down here. So I need to pick which color to make it, and there's already a lot of blue up here. So there's already some pink too, so I think I'll make this butterfly purple, because I need some more purple right there.
I considered what I should say in this video. Sure, there are a few things I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self, but I think what would have helped me more back then is if the people around me were better equipped to be around someone with a mental illness. I've reached out to many people over the years to confide in them about my mental health. I've had some varied reactions, perhaps due to ignorance or fear or denial, and I'm going to tell you a few things that I wished my confidants knew back when I needed their help, all while you watch me sew at the same time. Step 1. Listen to them. Listen to them without judgment and listen fully. A lot of people like to offer advice or fix the situation, saying, you should exercise more, or maybe you're just making a big deal out of this, or the worst one, you just need to stay positive. Folks, it does not work like that. The best thing to do in this situation is to let them talk until they're done talking. A lot of times, a vent sesh is enough to do the trick, but not if the listener seems to be judging or criticizing. Just listen, that's all. A lot of times, the symptoms a mentally ill person feel can manifest as physical symptoms too, such as fatigue or a change in appetite or mood. It is not laziness. It is an illness that cannot be cured simply by having a positive attitude. Would you expect a cancer patient or someone with a broken arm to cure themselves with a positive attitude? No, that's absurd. The same absurdity applies to mental illness. Step 2. Believe them. If someone you love confides something in you, something scary, it's best to take them at face value. You may think they're joking, or the thing they're saying is just too scary to be real. Maybe you think they're exaggerating in order to get attention. This is an incredibly dangerous mindset to have. I'm going to switch camera angles for the next part. There have been times where I've told people, multiple different people, that I was feeling suicidal, and they did not believe me. And I scream at them, like, this is serious. You need to take me seriously. But at the same time, I didn't want them to stop me, and so I said nothing. I felt that I had done my part in telling them that I was suicidal, and their inaction was a sign that I should follow through with my plans. So please, if someone tells you something like this, please believe them. Take it at face value. The worst that can happen is that they were telling a joke and you overreacted. It's much, much better than the alternative. If you are ever in a situation where your loved one is in danger of harming themselves, please encourage them to call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK or 800-273-8255. If your loved one is in need of medical care, call 911. In either case, it is imperative that you do not leave your loved one alone. They cannot be alone in this moment. Step 3. Follow up with them. Even if your loved one feels better after confiding in you, this is not a one-and-done situation. These feelings will most likely return, and the most insidious part of mental illness is this self-isolation. A mentally ill person can think of 1,000,001 reasons why people don't want to talk to them, and so they never reach out. The risk of rejection is too great to bear. One callous response or unreturned message may only reaffirm and worsen their feelings, and so they shut themselves in. Don't leave that responsibility for your friend. Send them a text or some dank memes, a letter in the mail, or a care package. I guess I could also suggest a phone call, but being your average millennial, I am terrified of phone calls. So to each their own. Let your friend know how much they mean to you and that they are not alone. And try not to take it personally if they do not respond for a while. Your kind words do help. These are the things I wish my people knew in the times that I needed them. As I progressed in my mental health journey and as I grew older, I was able to articulate my needs and wishes more clearly. But as a teenager or young adult, it felt as though I was struggling to find a voice and just screaming unanswered into a void. If you are someone with mental illness and you are struggling to find your words, feel free to share this video with your loved ones. If you are someone who is lucky enough to have no mental illness but want to be supportive, feel free to share this video. I cannot speak for everyone with mental illness, but I hope that with this video I can at least make a small amount of difference for someone. I just want to help.
Check it out. All I have is this much left to sew a project that I started 3.5 years ago. I finished it in just 3 days. I'm very proud of myself. And also, I don't need to feel ashamed that it took me a long time to pick it up again, because the reason I stopped was because of mental health. And the reason I picked it up again is also because of mental health. So it's something I should be proud of.
It's finally done! The project I started almost 3.5 years ago is finally finished. I'm so excited. I can barely contain myself. It looks amazing. Look, there's Valentine. honestly, you can only appreciate the amount of detail that's gone into it if you see it full view. I can show you the two sides, I can show you the pineapple fabric, but I'm gonna have to actually stand up to show you the whole thing. And guys, I'm so excited about this. I have so many projects that have gone to die in my closet because you just get to a point where you're not sure you can finish it, or you end up hating it or something. But maybe this will be the beginning of me finishing all my forgotten projects. But I love it so much. It's just so beautiful, and it means a lot to me for, the reason that I started it and the experiences I went through while I was making it. These are all hand stitched into this fabric. So let me show you what it looks like the full thing. Hopefully I can fit it all on the screen. So there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful. Mental health has always been a large part of my life, and so I like to talk about it a lot. And sewing has also helped me a lot as well. And I think that kindness and compassion are the driving forces of good, and these are how you're going to help the people you care about. So I will close out this video with a quote from my favorite soft on the inside cynic. Hello, babies. Welcome to Earth. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It's round and wet and crowded. On the outside, babies, you've got 100 years here. There's only one rule that I know of. Babies, God damn it, you've got to be kind. Kurt Vonnegut Jr.